Okay, Black women, we gotta talk. This is important. Don't scroll. We are losing our jobs. It's been happening all year and it's getting worse.
Since the late 80s, Black women have come out on the scene as the new face of Black America. Part of that being independent and not needing no man. And the second part of that is Black female excellence. By the time the late 80s came, you saw so many Black women being the first person or first generation in their family going to college, graduating college, getting into the middle class, or even doing much better. We saw an elevation of these women, especially in the South, but also in the Northeast, in strongholds like DC, New York, Jersey, and Philadelphia. And especially in places like DC, where you have a lot of government jobs that pay a whole lot of money. A lot of Black women were really doing well. And of course, they were letting a lot of folks know that it was their time to shine. But of course, good times can't last always. Black women are having a tough year in 2025. Jobs are being cut and Black women are walking away from the private sector.
MSNBC just reported in 3 months, 300,000 Black women left the job force. They say left, and I know that sounds cute. You may be thinking it's because Black women are thriving and starting businesses. No, they were laid off.
Now, this woman makes a pretty good point. And what she's saying is the way that people are phrasing it is that these Black women were laid off or they're leaving their jobs. But really, in the real sense, these women were laid off, or if you want to say fired, okay? Not for any behavioral issues or anything like that, but it's what she's saying. They want to make it seem like they just left, but it's not really true.
You may be asking, why is this happening to us? Why Black women? Well, the job cuts that we are seeing are happening in agencies and in spaces where Black women are largely represented. Of course, the dismantle of DEI. As Black women, we held a lot of those jobs. And Black women are largely represented in federal jobs and hold jobs in these agencies like Department of Education, Department of Health, where we are seeing job cuts and budget cuts.
Now, she's describing the sort of employment that Black women were seeking. A lot of these jobs were diversity hire jobs. And then some of these jobs were prominent positions in the government, okay, in Department of Education. And typically these are really good jobs for Black women in general, because these jobs tend to come with a certain level of a salary. You don't have to work 50, 60 hours a week. The benefits are good. 401k is good. Health insurance is always there. So this is a really good career, especially if you're in, like I said, those places like Washington, D.C., Maryland, you know, a lot of those contract jobs. You can live a really good life and enjoy yourself. But she brings up a point that I really want to talk about next.
So it's affecting us more than anyone else. And I just wanted to bring this up, bring it to your attention because it's important. And I really think it's just important for everyone to have multiple income streams and to figure out a way to build and make money outside of a job. A job used to be the security. Now I feel like the income streams you have outside of your main job is the real security.
She's saying because Black women are laid off, Black women need to understand the value of other sorts of incomes. Now, this is a very interesting point because, and I agree, it's always good to have sources of income. But I also want to talk about this a little bit more deeper. Now, ABC News made a video, and on this particular topic, they had a lady by the name of Katika Roy, who is a gender economist, and she was weighing all of the catastrophic things happening because Black women have lost these jobs. And about entrepreneurship or multiple income streams, that was actually talked about on this particular interview.
Is there an upside to all of this? Are we seeing women pivoting to entrepreneurship as they're leaving the workforce? What then are they doing?
You know, that's a great question. And the truth is, we don't know where all of the 300,000 Black women that have actually been pushed out of the labor force have gone. We know that some of them have gone into entrepreneurship, which is not only because of luxury, but it's actually because of survival. And this is really a testament to their resilience, but it also shows the rigidity in our traditional employment systems.
Now, she said, how many people are going out and finding income in other ways? In Katika, in so many words, says, hey, you know what? I don't know the number, and we don't know exactly who we are, but we do know that a lot of Black women are starting businesses or going into entrepreneurship based on survival. Now, let me just tell you this. Entrepreneurship is not an easy thing, but if you're going to do it and you're doing it based on survival, typically you don't do the best job. I'm not trying to say that you can't do a good job, but typically your job is not the best. And I'm going to tell you why. Because think about companies like Apple. Companies that be able to scale and provide the best set of services that we could ever want. It's an opportunity mindset that creates the customer experience that you get from Apple. When you go to Chick-fil-A or to a nice restaurant, the person that is serving you is not serving you out of survival. Okay, that tends to be a transactional based business, which we typically don't want to go back and support ever again. But in this case, she's saying that Black women are going into business from a survival mindset. Now, here's another problem. If you were hired in a setting where your job was based like a DEI hire, okay? This is not to say that you're not talented as a DEI hire, okay? You could be very well be talented. But the reality is that if you're working in, the federal government and you're DEI hire, you might be less likely to innovate and pick up more skills that you may need in the future. So what that means is you go from having a job that is probably not as stressful, working for the government or working as a DI hire, to now transitioning to a whole entire economy, which you probably don't understand. You're now an entrepreneur. You're trying to earn money. You're learning how to deal with customers. You've never had to do this before in your life. And now you're just throwing yourself out there to the sharks. And that tends to be the issue with, getting different income streams when you never had to do that before. And you may not know how to add value to the private sector. It's not as easy as everybody thinks. Adding value to the world and getting people to buy from you and doing stuff, it's a whole whirlwind about that in business. And this is also my fear for a lot of these Black women who are coming into this particular situation is, do you understand how hard this may be? But then the next problem for me was the most concerning.
Is that 51% of households with Black children are led by Black women who are the breadwinners. And the article specifically cites that Black women tend to be the economic foothold of the Black community. This is going to cause a trickle effect, not just across the Black community, but across the labor force as a whole. So they are saying that Black women are disproportionately the breadwinners, the caregivers, and entrepreneurs. And so if Black women are losing out on money, on job opportunities, on grants, on all sorts of things due to being targeted because of DEI and because of ongoing job cuts that are happening both at the private and federal level, that this is going to continue to be a trickle effect across the entire economy.
A lot of these women that had these jobs are single mothers, okay? And this is the most concerning thing. Now, a lot of Black women in today's age, I saw a video where some of the women in their 40s are now outpacing women that are having kids by the age of 18. So just imagine you're 40, you may or may not be married, but let's assume that you're not. You have a child, late 30s, early 40s, and then now you're laid off. So you have a new baby, you just got laid off, you have no intention with being in the father, you want to have the kid, and now you're a single mom, and the job that you had with the federal government, which you thought was very stable, is now gone, all right? And what does this also teach me about what's going on with Black women is that they don't really have a strong community that they are tied to help them out during hard times. And this is also Black men. And this has been one of the reasons why as a community we've been relegated the way we have, is because we forgot to work together. This didn't need to. You had good federal jobs. good jobs, good pensions, good opportunities, 401k matches, things like that. Now the world is a little bit different. So if you're not already embedded into a community, a family, where you can be valuable, but when you're kind of just out there by yourself and you're not linked to a husband or a wife or a community that can be able to find the opportunity for you, it really hurts a lot. All right. And it puts a lot of stress on the women in our community, because the other women that are not in this situation can survive. Let's look at certain Indians, Asians. It's probably a little easier for them if their wife loses their job. Of course, it hurts, but they can plug them into the community and get something. They have networks, all right? And when you have that, it's really powerful. I know somebody who lives in Dubai, and they were telling me about how almost all of the tech jobs are controlled by the Indians. So if you're an Indian and you live in Dubai, I mean, it's nothing to get somebody to get you into another position. But if you're an African and you don't have that unity built around you, it's bad, right? And that's the downside of being a single person. It's the downside of being a single woman. It's the downside of not being attached to a man in times like this. And this is what we don't tell Black women, that, hey, if you don't have a husband, or if you are a single mom and something like this happens and you're out there by yourself, it doesn't feel good. All right. Like, this is what we don't tell women, and women buy into this because they see Tia Mowry doing it, but she's already rich with so much connections that she can just do whatever she needs to do. But a lot of women in the Black community don't have this. And so now you have a kid, you're trying to figure out how to run a business. You've never run a business in your life. You're trying to figure out from a survival mentality how to get to your next month, how to do X, Y, and Z on the fly. And then you have some women that had to leave their job industry because, childcare was too much. They had to do all that. It's just really a messed up situation. And my heart goes out to the ladies that are struggling with this. And then also now having to pick up a new skill, right? If you're working in a government job and the economy can now remove that with AI or, some level of automation, now you have to go back and try to learn AI itself, and then I heard now you have to be like, in whatever your industry is, you need to know some level of AI now just to get hired. And then another skill that will put you in the industry where you can work. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.